I feel so ancient. It's like internet from the Stone Age.
Hello and welcome to Fortnightly Frontier, the show where we pretend to know something about the best damn first-person universe ever, Star Citizen. Hoping to fool our viewer into becoming a slave for a world domination. I'm your host, Loose Unit, and with me, as always, is Dionator.
Hello, everybody. And you, Joe. Hello.
Hello.
But before we begin, let me just say that we are recording this episode merely 2 days after the unfortunate passing of Leonard Nimoy, who I can quite conclusively say has been a great inspiration to a lot of people out there, not just me, in giving us something to dream about and introducing us into this whole world of science fiction and giving us certain aspirations and dreams that we hope to achieve, maybe in reality, but maybe just through a little fantasy that Chris Roberts and everybody else at CIG seems to share. And yeah, he will be sorely missed. And
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, Leonard Nimoy. But as they say in the showbiz that he was such a important part of, the show must go on.
Yes, it must.
It must. So, what do we have in store tonight, Mr. Unit?
Tonight we will discuss the Rental Equipment Credits, or REC, controversy, and how the actions of the individual might affect an organization's reputation. We'll follow that up with, of course, the Hyper News, a quick rundown of the latest news from the verse.
So, we're doing Hyper News afterwards, are we?
Yes, something's changed.
Yes, we're mixing things up a bit. Tell us in the comments if you prefer this sort of format, or do you prefer the one we did before. But I think that a little change can go a far way. No,
A long way.
A long way.
Yes.
Fuck.
Boom! Let's discuss.
Let's discuss. So,
Yes.
the rental equipment credits, which is,
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea,
great
and
idea.
it's very similar to the idea that I had in a previous episode. Although mine was slightly different, which included paying actual money to change the chassis, but this would be, as the system goes, you have to play the game and play it well, and by doing that you earn in-game credits which you can use to rent equipment.
Yes.
That can be either ships or weapons or, first-person shooter weapons, shields, stuff like that.
Unfortunately, that really takes us down this path of it being a freemium game in a way, in that sort of style, but you have to earn your way to the top or pay your way to the top. It really pushes it in that direction. I think this is a concern that a lot of people have had inside the community, which is why it's been considered a bit of a controversial thing to introduce this.
Yes, but unless they actually move towards the whole system where you pay actual money for these systems, I don't think there's any controversy to be had, because this is basically just points that you earn by playing the game so you can test out equipment so you don't actually have to spend actual money on.
But the point is, in War Thunder you have the golden, I think it's golden and silver, and basically you pay money for one and you earn the other one in game.
Right.
And
yes.
you get into this position where you can pay to give yourself an advantage in both, in gold and silver. And they really have to be very careful when they're bringing this in as to exactly how these two could combine.
Yes, I agree. I think that they really should be careful to avoid the whole pay-to-win scenario.
Yes, and Chris Roberts has been very clear about not making it pay to win. But right now, it really is. It really is.
Well, right now, the whole money is still going towards the development of the game, but they did say that once the game is final, they will stop accepting money unless it's, for new people to actually join the game.
Yes. But
yeah.
There's still this concern right now that there's people out there that are spending a shitload of money on the game to buy the best weapons to own in Arena Commander. I think this is where the REC comes in quite nicely, because you have these people that are spending so much money on the game. Imagine if you're a noob. You just have your Aurora, right?
Well, they don't have to imagine that I'm a noob. I am a noob.
So you buy your Aurora. You spend $30 or $40 or whatever it is now on the Aurora package.
Yeah.
You jump into the game. Like, yes, I'm going to play this game. This game is awesome. Suddenly, you have 5 people who have been playing the game for months in a Hornet, owning you because you're in a Aurora. They just see the Aurora and think, soft target, free kill, I'm after it.
Yeah. Well, that is a balancing issue that will have to be addressed, because I think right now there really is no class divide between the experienced players with hugely overpowered weapons and new players with just stock stuff, and they get mixed and matched in the same matches and then just, die instantly and don't get any points.
The real question is, how can they balance it out? How can you pay $40 for a ship that can compete with something that's $150? The Hornet, whatever the Super Hornet is, I think it was $150 or so. How can you pay $50 for that ship and then expect it to compete with that? And this is where the REC is really going to come into its own, is when you get motivated noobs who have shitty ships who are willing to put in the time so they can play with these bigger ones. And I think it's important to get more people as well playing the game, which is something that's kind of lacking at the moment.
Yeah, because I haven't been playing in a while. I'm looking forward to the first-person shooter module, because I like the whole space game, but there is no the part that really drives, that would attract me to it, is not there. There's no exploration. There's no free flight between vast stretches of space, stuff like that. It's just dogfighting, and I don't really like that.
There's no space truckering for you.
Well, no. Well, yes. Well, this is exactly the reason why I bought Elite Dangerous, but I just kind of stopped playing that as well, because that got a bit boring. It is only one aspect of the final game.
Yeah.
I want space trucking, and I want the combat, and I want exploration, and I want research and stuff like that. I want the whole game, and I've seen what the dogfighting is like. I like it a lot, but it's just got me a bit bored. I think that things that are coming in the upcoming 1.1 patch will change that a bit, because they're adding a new game mode, which is just free flight with friends.
Yep.
So you can derp around, and they're also adding some sort of landing, let's call it mini game. There's going to be some area, like a platform, maybe a sort of different version of the asteroid hangar, where you can train landing.
Yeah, that's going to be
without any sort of combat involved.
Yeah, I mean, we're really pushing into this territory now where a lot of these things we're seeing, like the first-person shooter module and the capital ships, finally starting to become more like they're going to be in-game soon. We're pushing into that realm where things are just going to start exploding and happening all around us. All at once, actually.
It's snowballing, yeah.
Yeah, it's snowballing. And it's all going to come together very, very quickly. And that's exciting.
Yeah, the people at CIG have been really busy in the background, finalizing all these modules, and now that one after another is going to start coming out. A lot of things that we weren't privy to they didn't think that we're ready to look at, and then now everything's just gonna start coming out, and it's gonna be quite good, and the whole game's gonna start taking shape.
Yeah, and another thing as well is that they're starting. We kind of expected to see more modules and more stuff coming out slowly, but they're really in a position that everything connects, everything is synergizing together. So they're going to release the first-person shooter module, and that means the multi-cruise ship stuff is very close behind, because that's all reliant on all of the systems they're building for the first-person shooter, and so much more. It is coming together, ladies and gentlemen.
It is. Now, to put a bit of kind of solid sort of dates on it. The first-person shooter module is going to come out in March, which is this month already. And the social module, which is something that ties into the whole multi-cruise ships, because you need proper interaction between players within a single map.
Yep.
That's coming out in April. That is after the 1.1 patch, so I'm thinking maybe 1.2 and 1.3. That's what they're going to be called.
I have no idea.
Something like that. It's all just speculation at this point. But yeah, that is the timeline that they are currently on.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
And now, the actions of an individual affecting the reputation of an organization. How is that going to screw with people? I mean, you see an organization like Test, for example, because I take that out as an example because it's a very large group of people and they're all doing different things. What if we have 20 guys in Test doing piracy inside of UEC space?
Okay.
UEE space, sorry, not UEC.
That's something completely different.
Yeah. And they're committing these acts of piracy inside UEE space. How will these small group of players affect the reputation of an organization that is massive? How will it do that? How are they gonna work all of these metrics out to figure out? I'm a member of Test, and I don't want to be in a position where I'm not a pirate, even though I have a cutlass because that makes me a pirate. Arr,
matey.
But how are they going to figure out how to make? I'm not really going to be a pirate, and then suddenly I fly into UEE space. And I get destroyed by some AI because they assume that I'm a pirate because I'm part of Test. And there's been a small group of players playing as pirates. How is this actually going to work? I'm concerned quite a lot about how they're going to manage to put that together. Because it could potentially result in the splitting up of organizations into different groups and how they want to play and how they want their reputation to...
Yeah. Right, yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
you see
you want to be part of an organization because of that whole sense of community and team play and stuff like that, but you don't want to be held responsible for the actions of like a splinter cell inside the whole group that kind of dictates how the rest of the universe handles that organization. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. And it could become a griefing thing as well, where you have a small group who join an organization and they decide that they want to, or they're already got a mission to go and grief them. They just go
to destroy the reputation of the group.
They go and ruin the reputation in UEE space of this massive group with thousands and thousands of players in it. Suddenly you have this group where thousands and thousands of people are not allowed into UEE space.
Well, yeah, that is... Well, maybe they need to augment the whole organization politics system so you can annex a certain to disavow the actions of a certain group of people. But how that would be implemented from a sort of legal standpoint, that is a very interesting question.
Yeah, and
how can you as an organization actually convince the system behind the entire universe that the actions of the few don't reflect the stance of the many.
Yeah. And also, I mean, you get into a situation where, let's say, that they say, okay, well, we're going to do it on a percentage or a total percentage of the population of a certain organization.
Yeah.
And then what happens when you have 50% of an organization who want to be pirates and they are actively being pirates? The other 50% are completely law-abiding. How do you balance that so those law-abiding people get to remain as active traders inside of UEE space? Where
I suppose you just have to distance yourself from that organization at that point. If it gets to such a point where a high number of the organization is doing something that you are not in league with, then I suppose it's time to reevaluate where your allegiances lie and find a new organization.
That's true, but when it's like a perfect 50-50 split, how do you decide that? And how does CIG decide what the reputation is going to be? This is a question we would really, really, really love CIG to answer really in a lot of detail as to how this reputation system is going to work. So if you're from CIG, please feel free to answer in the comments below or via another method. We're happy to discuss that.
Well, if you take TEST as an example, which is a organization with thousands of members, and if it gets to a point where there's that 50-50 split, as you said, there's already thousands of players. This isn't a splinter group. This is something that really needs to be addressed by the leaders of that organization, whether it's allowed in the first place. I don't think, for instance, Montoya, who is the leader of TEST, would allow, if he plays down the doctrine, we are traders and miners and that's it, and then all of a sudden 50% of the people decide that they're not going to be that, they're going to be pirates. I don't think that would fly very well under the radar, because that would mean they would need to elect their own sort of leaders inside the organization, and that's a lot bigger clusterfuck.
But again, that's the problem with. This is why TEST is such a good example, because they're not going to stop people from doing things that are fun in the game. Their whole idea is to have fun in the game. If piracy is fun, do piracy. If trading is fun, do trading. So you're going to end up with this huge group of people that are not really focused on one goal. They're going to be doing everything that they can inside the universe, because they're not a group of people who are role-playing to be the biggest exploration organization or the biggest whatever organization. They're just playing because they want to meet some cool people.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they would need to introduce a sort of sectioning system within the organization, like branches. That you have the trading branch, the mining branch, the pirate branch. Something that would prevent the actions of one branch from affecting how the NPCs or how your reputation in the universe is affected.
Yeah,
but that would mean almost basically making a completely separate organization.
Yeah, and this is what happened with Red Faction. I don't know how many of our viewers are familiar with Red Faction. When they were originally creating it, I mean, it's a complete mess. But they created these different groups that were meant to be focusing on different things based on the reputation system. And it's really a stupid system. It's hard. How does this work? You can have a huge weighting on the individual actions, would be a first step. Whereas the organization actions should be very, very lowly weighted, or underweighted, and you have the individual actions, which are very highly weighted to base your reputation. So your organization reputation is not that important. I guess that would be the only way they could move forward. But again, we would like CIG to come out and really tell us how they think this is going to work.
Yeah, I really didn't think that it was such a big issue, but now that we've had the discussion, this is something that's now it's bothering me as well. Damn you!
I'm sorry.
Well,
Anyway,
anyway,
we must move on to the hyper news.
in the middle of the episode.
Yeah.
Okay, the hyper news, the RSI Orion concept sale is underway, so if you'd like to get your hands on this really badass looking mining ship, now is the time to do it. I really don't know how much it costs, because on one page it's... No,
or
on one page it's...
370 or 380. Somewhere between 300 and 400.
Yes, but on one page it says 260, but on the other says it's 325.
I haven't seen this page that says 260. It's a myth.
I saw it somewhere. I don't know where, because it's weird. Anyway, it's very awesome, and they have everything, including the Holiviewer, so you can check out all of it in its awesomeness and its hugeness and everything. And I want it, but I can't afford it. But the test squadron, the organization that we are part of, has already multiple of them. So if you want to work on it, we have the opportunity. Yep. And there is also a sort of mining mini game called A Lone in the Verse, which kind of
it's a clicky game.
It's a clicky game. I played it once, finished it. It took me about an hour. After
You actually played it. Oh.
I did play it.
I played it for about 3 minutes, clicked about 5 times, and went, this is really, really boring, and then quit.
Well, I really had nothing else to do.
Over $74 million has been raised on the back of the RSI Orion sale. We're very happy about that, because more money means a more full game.
Yes. Oh, something that I wanted to mention before in regards to the 1.1 patch is the Gladius, the Aegis Dynamics Gladius, will be available in Flyable, and it comes with a new damage model, which is something that was put forward, was made available by all these generous contributions from our backers. And it is something that I think many people believe will just push back the release date of the game, because, it's just another feature that's being added on top of everything that's been built before. But I actually think that is the exact opposite, because it's making the damage model a lot more procedural.
Yes.
So they don't have to make all the damage states for all the ships. They can just... So if they can make the damage model very robust, and that can be applied to huge ships like the Constellation and even the Bengal Carrier, they won't have to spend months to just make the damage states for these humongous ships.
Exactly. I mean, they can say this system runs along this pipe here, or this connection here, and the armor from the outside is 10 centimeters.
Yeah.
And then you shoot at that, and your weapon has a penetration effect on that angle of 5 centimeters. So you hit it twice, you can get through and take out the connection into the system.
Yes, we like procedural things, don't we?
Yes, it actually makes the game very easy to and very nice to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the monthly Wonderful World of Star Citizen Episode 1 was released, featuring... Not us, no, but a fellow member of the community, Disco Lando. And I think this is quite a good move by CIG. They are giving their community members an opportunity to be showcased on their own channel, so other members of the community don't have to hunt YouTube and the forums to find out about them. And they gave Disco Lando a job, which is also very nice of them.
This is something that was really missing, because back in the old Wingman's Hangar days, you had a section devoted to just things like this. And when they went to the Around the Verse format, they kind of cut that out, not because they had too... Not because the stuff was bad, but because they had too much other new content to add. So they didn't want to add another 20 minutes, half an hour of community content. Which kind of makes sense. So this new show is really, really nice to see that coming together.
It's going to come out once a month, and it's going to showcase new stuff, new contributions by the community, podcasts, videos. It's going to be quite fun to watch if you're interested in what the community, apart from the two of us, is up to.
Yes. And that's it for the Hyper News and this episode of Fortnightly Frontier. Please don't forget to go below and subscribe and comment. We would really love to hear your comments about the new show setup. We have made some changes, so we'd like to hear from you about that. Don't forget to share it to everyone you know, or no one because you don't have any friends like us.
But just, if nothing else, click that like button. It helps us tremendously.
Yes.
And until next time, we will see you in the verse. Yeah. 10th of a second, which is very nice. Very nice indeed.
He has a cable now.
Cable? Yes, I have a cable.
Cable.
I feel so ancient. It's like internet from the Stone Age.
But it works much better, so shut the fuck up.
It does.